Sleeping Beauty. The story of Sleeping Beauty, also known as Briar Rose or La Belle au Bois dormant, traces its roots back to ancient folklore that spanned across cultures long before Charles Perrault and the Brothers Grimm penned their famous versions. It's a tale woven from the threads of myths, blending themes of fate, curses, and the eternal power of love. Its origins may lie in ancient narratives of death and resurrection, where a figure would fall into a deep sleep, awaiting a moment of divine awakening. Through time, these myths evolved into the tale of a princess cursed to slumber in eternal sleep, awaiting her savior. But beneath the layers of enchantment and royal splendor lies a darker, richer narrative. Let me take you to a world far more vivid, where magic flows like rivers through the kingdom, and where the fate of a young princess becomes the fulcrum of an ancient prophecy. The birth of Aurora, Indiana, a land where the mountains kissed the skies and the forests whispered secrets of old. There was a kingdom long ruled by the House of Solis. The Solis dynasty, known for their wisdom and fairness, ruled a land rich in natural beauty and thriving life. But for all their fortune, King Alaric and Queen Selene had no child. For many years, the couple prayed, sought healers, and even sought answers from the mystical beings of the surrounding forests, the Fae folk. At long last, their prayers were answered. Queen Selene gave birth to a daughter, a child radiant as the dawn itself. The kingdom rejoiced, and the babe was named Aurora, after the first light of morning. To celebrate the birth of their long-awaited child, the king and queen held a grand festival, inviting people from every corner of the realm, as well as the three most powerful Fae in the land, each known for their vast and mysterious magic. The first Fae, Alizia, bestowed upon Aurora the gift of grace. She would be as graceful as the stars in the heavens, her every movement like a flowing river. The second Fae, Lysandra, granted her the gift of wisdom, making her as sharp as the wind that cuts through stone. Before the third Fae could offer her gift, the air around the hall darkened. A chill swept through the room, and in the midst of the celebration, a figure materialized, a Fae long forgotten by most, known only in the oldest stories. This was Morana, the Fae of Shadows, a being who had been shunned and feared by even her own kind for dabbling in dark and forbidden magics. Morana, with eyes like the void and a voice like the rustling of dead leaves, approached the cradle. The king and queen stood frozen, their hearts pounding. "I see you have forgotten to invite me," she said, her words laced with bitter amusement. "But I, too, have a gift for the princess." With a wave of her hand, a cold gust filled the room. On her 16th birthday, Aurora will prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel, and with that, she will fall into a deep sleep. A sleep from which she will never awaken, unless... Morana paused, letting the tension coil. She is awakened by a love true enough to conquer death. Before anyone could protest, the dark Fae vanished into the shadows, leaving the hall in a stunned silence. The third Fae, a gentle spirit named Sylphina, hesitated. She could not undo Morana's curse, but she could offer a sliver of hope. "I cannot break the curse," Sylphina said softly, "but I can soften its blow. The princess will not die, as Morana intended. Instead, she will fall into a deep sleep. And though time will pass, her slumber will preserve her until the day a heart pure and strong enough can wake her with love." The looming fate. Despite Sylphina's efforts, the curse hung over Aurora's life like a shadow. King Alaric, desperate to protect his daughter, issued a decree: every spinning wheel in the kingdom was to be destroyed. Craftsmen were forbidden from creating them, and those that existed were burned in great pyres. Yet despite the king's efforts, the old magic was not so easily thwarted. Aurora grew into a radiant young woman, her beauty like the dawn, her grace and wisdom admired by all who met her. She had an adventurous spirit, often slipping away from the castle to explore the forests, speak with the animals, and even, though unknown to the king and queen, befriend the Fae folk. As her 16th birthday approached, however, a sense of unease settled over the castle. Despite the king's precautions, the royal family could feel the pull of the curse, as though destiny itself was winding ever closer to an inevitable point. On the eve of her birthday, while wandering through the castle, Aurora stumbled upon a forgotten tower, one that had been sealed away long before her birth. Curiosity piqued, she climbed the winding stairs to the top. There, in a small chamber lit only by a single shaft of light, sat an old woman, spinning thread on a wheel that gleamed like moonlight. Aurora, fascinated by the motion, approached the wheel. The old woman, Morana in disguise, smiled and beckoned her closer. "Would you like to try?" the woman asked, her voice soft, her eyes gleaming with hidden intent. Drawn in, Aurora reached out, and as soon as her finger touched the spindle, a sharp prick jolted through her hand. Time seemed to slow, and darkness enveloped her vision. She fell to the ground, her body as still as stone, her breathing shallow, as if she had fallen into the deepest of dreams. The sleeping kingdom with the princess cursed, the entire kingdom fell into despair. Sylphina, the third fae, in an effort to protect the realm from grief, cast a spell over the castle and its inhabitants, putting them all to sleep alongside Aurora. Vines of thorny roses began to grow around the walls, shielding the slumbering kingdom from the outside world. Years passed, then decades, and the legend of the sleeping princess grew into myth. Many tried to reach the castle, hoping to break the curse and win the heart of the beautiful maiden, but none succeeded. The thorns grew thicker, the roses sharper, and the shadow of Morana lingered over the land, watching and waiting. But one day, a young prince named Idris, known for his bravery and compassion, heard whispers of the sleeping kingdom. Guided by a sense of destiny, he embarked on a quest to find the lost castle. After many trials, he reached the Wall of Thorns. Though the briars lashed out, cutting him deeply, he pressed on, driven by an unshakable determination. At last, Idris stood before the sleeping princess, her beauty untouched by time. Kneeling beside her, he felt a profound connection, as though his heart had been bound to hers long before this moment. With a gentle breath, he leaned in and kissed her softly on the forehead. The magic, ancient and powerful, stirred. Aurora's eyes fluttered open, the curse lifted by the strength of his love. The kingdom, too, awoke, the thorns retreating, and life returning to the land. Epilogue. As Aurora rose from her slumber, the kingdom celebrated the triumph of love over darkness. Yet in the shadows, Morana watched, her expression unreadable. The story of Sleeping Beauty was not one of simple victory. It was a tale of fate, of choices made and futures shaped. Aurora and Idris would rule wisely and well, but the shadow of the curse would linger, a reminder that not all magic can be undone so easily. And somewhere, in a forgotten corner of the world, the dark fae waited, plotting once again.